Greetings. I am Tom Earl. On this week's episode, I interview spoken word artist and speaker Abstract C.I.M. Check it out. Greetings. I am Tom Earl, and this is my year of grace. We know you could be anywhere, so the fact that you are here today sharing your greatest gifts, your time and energy, it means the world to me. We hope you know that just where you are loved and appreciated. I have an amazing, brilliant, and poetic guest. She goes by the name of Abstract C.I.M. What's good, Abstract?
What's good? Nothing much. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing wonderful. I really appreciate the heck out of you, taking that leap of faith with the DM. You didn't know me, and you're like, I'm going to go for it. So I appreciate that.
Your energy felt right. It's no problem at all.
I appreciate it. You mind if I introduce folks to you via reading your bio?
No problem. Let me.
Abstract C.I.M. is a spoken word artist and speaker. She has won and placed in several poetry slams and competitions across the country and has toured and performed with artists such as Def Jam poet Red Storm and the beautiful and gorgeous Tyrese Gibson. I added that in. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree in English with a creative writing concentration and a minor in theater at Georgia State University. A native of Augusta, Georgia, Abstract is thriving and advancing towards her goal of running an all-inclusive creative and corporate writing business in her newfound home of Atlanta while touring the world to spread her message of love and self-worth. Yes, indeed. It's powerful.
Yes. Thank you.
My pleasure. Let's jump right into what does the C.I.M. mean?
The C.I.M. It stands for complicated. I'm thinking about changing that to complex, but it stands for complicated. And it just kind of pairs with the name abstract, abstract being open to interpretation. It means what it means to you in the way it connects to you, and it's going to connect to different people in different ways. And that's kind of how I relate to my poetry. That's kind of how I describe it. It's coming from my own personal experiences, but she might have gone through the same thing, but felt a different way about it. So everything is abstract. Everything has different interpretations and expressions, and that is me, poetry. So that's how I got that name.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
How did you get into poetry? Where did that begin?
So if I have to take it all the way back, I can say it started in the womb. My mother is a writer. She's been writing books and poetry for as long as I can remember. So I guess because of her, I enjoyed writing as I was young. I think my earliest poem I can remember was in second grade. And that was back when it was so pure to me. I would write about anything. I remember writing about, it was Earth Day on the calendar. There was like a holiday on every day on the calendar. I wrote a poem about Earth Day. I could write about anything. I loved it so much. And so I would do that, occasionally. And then it hit me in ninth grade. I was in ninth grade literature at a fine arts school that I attended. So I was already heavily in the arts, already a very creative person, visually, writing wise. We had to do a required Shakespeare assignment. And everybody else thought it was a drag. They didn't feel like doing it, but I was kind of excited. So you have to choose a poem, you have to break it down, understand what Shakespeare was saying, and memorize it and perform it. And it was right then and there, I realized I had something. And I hated Shakespeare up until that point, but there was something about me connecting to what was being said that I didn't get before, but having to act it out, I really, truly understood it through my body language, through my voice, everything. And I fell in love with that whole process and the performing aspect. And from then, I haven't played down.
It's powerful. And I love how you started it with that first school we have, the womb. I love how you started it there.
Yeah. Shout out to Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. First right.
I heard maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but I heard maybe a little hint at there's been an evolution or a journey in your writing when you said back then I used to write so pure. What has evolved, or has the writing, do you feel it's not as pure, or what? Could you kind of break that down a little bit for us?
Okay, I'll do my best. That's a good question. And what I meant by that was my love for it was so it was just it was so reachable in the sense where, I could look at anything and it would birth a poem and I'll just get to writing. Um, there wasn't as much judgment, I say, self-judgment. It wasn't about it having to sound the best. It wasn't about it having to be the best slam piece that could win a competition or get the most oohs and ahs from an audience. It was literally my way of expressing through prose, through this beautiful art form that's just a step above just journaling or writing, where art meets the language of the heart, I guess. And it was just pure in that way. Whereas now, like I said, there is a little bit more judgment because I do write for a crowd. Now I kind of write as my career. My hobby turned into my career. I love what I do, but there's all these other precursors on what it needs to sound like and what constitutes a good piece that I'd be willing to put up on stage and represent for myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And that was going to be my next question, is that you do slams, which is, competitive poetry. And, as slam poets, we're always trying to, they say that, go for it. You ready? You're going to jump in.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. I want to clarify. I've slammed before. In my journey now, I do a lot less slam and more performances. I'm not going to say I'm like a slam queen. I've won some competitions, but there's a crew of people. There's a niche of people out here that be slamming. I wouldn't say I'm one of those people, but I'll dip and dab in a competition every now and then if I think I can, So yeah, nowadays I do a lot more performances than I can.
Okay, that's a helpful clarification. Still on that same line, once the poetry goes from primarily for me and for the process to writing also functionally, and that it's the intention is to share it, and you added another layer and to make a career and to make a living out of it. How do you still keep that focus on writing for writing's sake and not allowing all of that pressure to dictate what becomes written?
How do I do that? I just simply, I just kind of go for it. And that's in the same sense. Nowadays, I don't train myself to write. A lot of my poems come from like sudden inspiration or sudden emotion, whether that's love, whether that's hurt, whether that's frustration. It comes from some type of epiphany, some type of spark. And I'm actually learning and trying to practice to write more on point, to write when I say so, when I choose to. Because if I want to take this seriously and as a career, that's what I'm going to be asked to do. It's a lot easier to write for other people sometimes than it is to write for myself. So I'm trying to practice that as well as, because it's easy for me to write based off of emotion. That's what I've been doing my whole life. So I think that keeps worry about the audience away. From the jump, it's more so I'm writing because of whatever I'm going through before I'm even thinking about the piece.
No, I hear you. I appreciate that insight. And especially me putting you on the spot and going for it, exploring it with us. So I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
right. I appreciate you.
Thank you. So I feel like we've set the stage for one of your poems. Would you mind sharing one with us?
No problem. Okay, so this first piece, I guess I can consider it one of my signatures. It's called Changing Religion. And it's based around a premise that's in all of my poetry, which is learning how not to love other people more than you love yourself. A lot of my poetry is birthed from the fact that I love so hard. I'm such a lover and a giver and a kind-hearted person. And sometimes that can turn on me if you don't do it right. There is a right and wrong way to love somebody else. And if you're starting to love them more than you love yourself, it'll show. So anyway, you'll see that in this, and what that can lead to. So it's about loving another person almost as much as you, or more than you love your God. So it's called changing religion. We're going to get a little personal, on the first piece. Is that all right? Okay. My God, I praise you from the depths of my soul, from my fingertips to my toes. I live for you, and I would be nothing without you. And now bow to my feet humbly to bless thee. Lord, you are my El Shaddai, Adonai, and Elohim. No, but you are mistaken, because I'm not talking about my king. I'm talking about my last queen. Their name is Ty. And he had me wrapped around his little fingers. See, I made him my idol. For lack of a better term, he might as well have been my God, and our relationship was my religion. Our home was my temple. No, you were my Alpha and Omega. You were my beginning and my end. See, I placed no one else above you. You polluted my mind, and I fell into thinking that I was living on this earth to live for you. I studied the verses of your first mixtape more than I studied the ones in my own Bible. Couldn't even pull the jeans above my own ankles without feeling the need to ask you if I even look good enough to walk outside with. I tried to adhere to your every direction as if I was merely one of your disciples. Every time you tried to leave me, I clung to you like two by two. You ain't never even seen inseparable animals on Noah's Ark like this before. Your harsh words, they meant more to me than the book of Revelation. When you got mad at me, it was the rapture in my head. I changed the way that I walk, the way that I talk, the way that I dress, all for you. I told my family my deepest secrets, all because of you. You made me question my own self-worth. My phone number will forever be in a suicide hotline database, all because of you. How did I look at you as my God? As I was staring at the demons inside of you. And I didn't start crawling back to my real God until I finally started running away from you. Now that I look back, my actions were telling you, baby, I praise you from the depths of my soul, from my fingertips to my toes. I live for you, and I would be nothing without you. Sweetheart, anything good that I earn is because of you, and I'll bow to my feet humbly to bless thee. Honey, you are my El Shaddai, Adonai, and Elohim. But when I finally realized that we were poisoned for each other, when I finally realized that you were my apple and I was Eve, I had the nerve to turn around and still say, my God, what have you let happen to me? If I ever get the chance to speak to you again, I'll tell you. I hope you sleep well at night, knowing that you put more fear in me than God did. I hope I sleep well at night, knowing that I let you put more fear in me than God did. And I'll tell you that I'm still working on changing religion. That's that piece.
Woo!
Yes.
Woo! Yes. It's powerful.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
In your bio, you have working towards spreading your message of love and self-worth. And then you set that really beautiful poem up talking about you love hard. What for you are the ingredients of a loving relationship?
The ingredients of a loving relationship. Communication, trust, honesty. I can go on. Commitment, peace, joy, friendship. There's so many pieces. It takes a lot. And all those pieces coming together, I think, brings good relationship between two people.
What was the journey of that poem that you just shared with us?
Right. It was a hectic one. It was a hectic one. Like any relationship, they all start well, but truthfully, I'm only 24 years old, so some people may call that young. It is a little bit young, but I done been through some things. But I can say that whereas I thought I knew what I was doing, and I thought I knew how to be in a relationship, and I thought I knew how to love people and love myself back then, I really did. And then I'm still a work in progress. And I'm still learning. But the more time I myself and I grow with myself, and I grow mentally, physically, and spiritually, the better I can stand in a relationship. But you have to learn to stand alone first, and dig deep inside the ugly and the pretty parts of yourself first before you can make any type of partnership or union with another person work. So, and I hadn't gone through any of that yet. I was still scratching the surface back in these relationships. So when disrespect would come in the picture, it'll be harder to see that as the problem and to know I need to walk away from certain things. And when you don't walk away from certain treatment, it allows you to think you deserve that treatment. It allows you to think you're less than. And it allows you to keep allowing people to disrespect you. And that goes with your self-confidence and your self-worth. And it's just a never-ending cycle. And it's a dangerous one that you really got to get up out of and recognize your loyalty, recognize your worth, recognize you deserve self-respect, but you got to recognize that for yourself and know that you deserve it before you're going to stand up for yourself and demand it, So that has been my entire journey, learning to demand a certain type of love and a certain type of respect, but only if I think I deserve it, So.
Yes, I do. And I think your answer really encapsulates that a poem isn't just a poem, especially for the writer. That all of what you just said was what gave birth from what you wrote. So I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Of course. Of course.
I feel like one of the other components you brought up, which is in your bio, is the need for an acknowledgement of one's self-worth for there to be love.
For sure.
What is self-worth to you?
I feel like it's the root. It's the root of all your interactions with other people. And know that when I put it in my poetry, a lot of it is more so teaching myself and working through my own thoughts and inspiring and motivating myself. And thank God that it also helps other people. But really, it's me talking myself through my problem. A lot of things I've been through, I probably could have stopped if I used my voice, if I felt like I had a voice and spoke up for myself and demanded a certain type of respect. But you don't really see a lot of those things until you look back on it and reflect. So I put it in my poetry and I repeat it over and over and over again. And I repeat it to other people and put those messages out there. And eventually I'm going to learn it. Eventually those lessons are going to stick. And as soon as another situation comes up, I'm going to see it for what it is, be strong enough to say what it is and stop it, in the act. And not let, toxicity or abuse or whatever it may be continue to happen until you think it's bigger than you and you can't handle it. So yeah, self-worth. That's the root of how you allow anybody else to treat you, based on what you think you deserve.
One thing that's powerful is not only your writing's awesome, but you really have a self-reflective strength. And you can hear it in that the experiences you've gone through, like you've really kind of deciphered ways you can invite self-improvement. Is that something you feel like you've always had, or how have you really strengthened that characteristic?
Say that one more
time. You're really self-reflective, but you're self-reflective in a way that it sounds like even if an experience is negative, you're really able to gain some lessons learned from it and then implement it into your life. But not only that, be able to speak to it, like be able to speak very clearly about, here's what I learned, here's what I'm going to do differently, and here's how I've used it to develop myself.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense. You know what I love about this? I was just telling you how nervous I was and how much I hate interviews. But you're really forcing me to think through these thoughts on the spot and really figure it out for myself. And I love that because a lot of the times I just do the poem and that's it. And a lot of people don't hear that background and how I got to that. And sometimes I might even forget how I got to that because I'm just reciting the poem and not going back to the blueprint. So this is helping me just as much as it's helping you, honestly. So I appreciate you. My response to that is, I told you I love heart. I'm a passionate being in general. I'm a Libra. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but I'm very passionate, very emotional. So just as much as when I love hard, it feels amazing. When I hurt really bad. And nobody wants to go through that. I know I don't. So if I'm going to go through it and I'm going to go through hurt, the least I can do is figure out what lesson God might have wanted me to learn from that. I had to go through it. Let me at least make sure it wasn't for nothing. In some way I can grow and become a stronger person. Before this event, I was naive to X, Y, or Z. Now I know. Now I know what to look out for. Now I know what signs to look out for. Now I know how I might respond. Let me respond this way next time. There's always something to be learned from anything you go through, whether that's good or bad. You learn a lot more from the bad than the good sometimes. So I'm just addicted to self-development and growing to be the best person I can be before I leave this earth. So yeah, does that answer your question?
It did. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the affirmation. You're rocking it.
Okay.
So why don't we, if you're comfortable, would you mind sharing your second poem with the good folks joining us?
No problem. So the second piece is a letter to my younger self, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm always talking about wanting to teach myself and learn and grow. So this is, I wish I could have told myself back then, but I know now. So a letter to my younger self. At 11 years old, you'll think you'll have life all figured out. You know that you want to be a visual artist, go to SCAD for college, have beautiful twins and a white picket fence, and life would be just that easy. You'll trust that everyone will love you just as much as you love them and see the good in everything. At 15, you'll become best friends with your first love. He'll bring you something innocent, something risky, something pure. His family will take you in as their own. You'll get your first kiss under the mistletoe at home and still go to the arcade, something serious. Even after you decided you're better off as friends. At 20, the breakup won't be that easy. You'll fall for the first person that ever called you queen. You'll pray for him. You'll lay your walls down at his feet. You'll create fantasies about your future together and baptize all your worries in his Jordan. You'll create poetry together like Mother Nature and Father God, and then he'll give pieces of you away and then call you back as if you're the one that stole. You'll learn not to trust every forever and always and last time. You'll place guards on heart and master loving from a distance and think that life will be just that easy. Then you'll forget. Because at age 22, you'll meet your soulmate, and he will sweep you off of your feet. So you'll let him tread deeper than you've ever allowed before. He'll have you feeling all grown and in love that you'll be begging for more. He'll wine, dine, and surprise you. He'll love you every single day, in every single way, in every single place, if possible. He'll meet your every criteria. You'll think he's God's way of saying you're welcome. So happy and belly full. He'll be your everything. And you'll get so caught up. You'll get so caught up in the way that he makes you feel. You'll excuse the nights he disrespected you because they were warmer than sleeping alone. You'll exchange open mic nights with the family for Olive Garden and second chances to explain who Lexi and Clara and Holly is. He'll have you praying more for improvement than for truth. Yes, his touch will knock you off your judgment, baby girl. He have you arguing about crazy stuff like why your problems make me turn to the gospel station? Or why is it that when I look, I'm being nosy, but when I look, I always find something? Why do I always find something? You'll convince yourself into 4 second chances with him because giving up would be so easy. It'll be 2 years your senior, but it'll be too soon to stop being young. Translation. There will be too many options, plus too much time wasted with the last one divided by too perfect of a girl who he knows is in too deep to leave him. So he thought. Rule number 1, never let a boy disrespect you. Rule number 2, you never have to chase what wants to stay. And there's no point in trying to love somebody out of their trust issue. But you'll try, and you'll try, and you'll try because you'll want him to change so much deeper, and you'll accept that he won't. And the crazy part is that God loves you so much, he'll take away your everything. You'll see you losing yourself and giving too much too soon to someone who doesn't deserve it. You'll see you settling for nothing, which you thought was everything, because he pulls his babies from situations before they destroy them. But he knows that your experiences will bring you wisdom, and he will accept you put these blessings and these poems at the bare minimum. At 22 and a half, you won't be as scared because you'll have graduated from the Georgia State University. You'll prefer City View window loft over rotting wood. You'll laugh at the thought that you couldn't enjoy anything more than art until poetry found you. And you'll finally realize that life won't be that easy. That maybe nothing will ever be that easy. But because God loves you so much, you're going to always be all right. So that's that piece. A letter to my youngest self.
Yes. How do audiences react while you're performing that one?
It varies. Sometimes they're as quiet as a mouse, but not because they're not listening, but because I know they're so in tune. And some people, they'll tell me to rewind and go back, and they'll hoop and holler. But, as long as they hear the messages, I'm good.
Some people just lie to themselves even years after the fact. And I think for a lot of people, the way you are just so open and honest with yourself about your experiences, I think for a lot of people, they probably freeze wow, man, what am I lying to myself about that I could be honest like you're being?
Right. You're so right about that. A lot of times it's kind of as quiet as a mouse. And I respect that. I want to know that you're listening. Yeah, because I'm not talking for myself.
Yeah, and a lot of times as poets, it's easy for us to write about things outside of ourselves, they affect us, issues and stuff that affect us, but they're out here. Yours are so autobiographical. You kind of just lay your soul bare, spitting for us. I appreciate that.
Of course, there's no problem. Kind of like my public diary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very public.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy when I think about it. I do it so effortlessly. It's all right.
But you really seem to get a lot of epiphanies and closure from your poetry, or maybe I'm projecting that.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, definitely an outlet. This helps me understand so that in the next one I can do better. What did I learn about myself from this situation? What did I learn about other people? Relationships are an ever growing, ever changing thing. And I know I'm not where I want to be yet. So I hope I learn through other people sometimes. And just kind of writing it down on paper and then putting it in a cute little poetic form just helps solidify it all. So I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So right now we're in our second or third week of Black History Month. And, although we celebrate and acknowledge Black history 365 days of the year, it's still an awesome time to, be intentional. So for you, what does Black History Month mean, or anything you want to share with us about the month?
Oh man, it means so much. To me, it means every person that came before us, that came before me, to fight for the rights we have, to fight for the freedom we have today to speak the way we really feel on topics and situations, especially the way times are today. I feel like I can easily say the Black community is in a state of emergency on so many different levels. We have our protectors out here trying to kill us. Those are the people we need to be able to call for help. Got unequal wages and unequal poverty, and there's just so much going on, and that leading to health concerns because we can't afford healthy food, and it's just so much health care. We're in a state of emergency, and it's all systematic. Really, it all goes back to why we fight and why we celebrate life. So I do it for them. I do it for the ones before us and the ones to come after us, because we didn't have to have this right. And people laid their lives down for us to be able to fight and breathe and speak, perform, and do all these wonderful things that we do out in the public to be enjoyed by other people. So shout out to them. And that's heavy. But yeah, I do it for my people.
And is there anybody from your family, your personal life, or history that you'd like to give a shout out to, or you think people don't know about that you think should be on their radar?
People that don't know about. Well, if you say don't know about, I could definitely give a shout out to some of our locals who I know do a lot of work in the community, activists. Shout out to Georgia Me, the Matriarch After Spoken Word. Shout out to Abyss and Red Storm, Malachi. There's out here that I know definitely do things for Black rights and things like that. So I appreciate them. My engine, of course, when it comes to the writing side, I hate to add too many because I know I'm going to forget some. There's so many people, known and unknown, that have helped us in ways large and small. So I'm not even going to try. There's just way too many. But shout out to some of our local community members who I see make a difference from day to day in Atlanta. So, and there's so many more. But yeah.
I appreciate that. It's helpful to really know like local activists, and a lot of times the work that people are doing isn't shiny and getting those national headlines. So, given that affirmation, I appreciate that.
Right.
So for the folks listening who are putting two and two together, you'll know that Abstract C.I.M is going to be the feature for this Sunday's live and online expression session, which is this Sunday, February 17th, if you're on the West Coast where I am. That means it's at noon to 2 p.m. if you are in the Central Time, Chicago or Milwaukee. That's 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And if you're on the East Coast where Abstract is, that's 3 to 5 p.m. if you're in London, Nigeria, etc. In that time zone, that would be 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. You can join from anywhere in the world by joining by video or by phone. It's interactive. It eliminates any barriers for transportation because, boom, just join us. We always have an international. What'd you say?
I said no traffic.
Exactly. We always have an international group of writers join us to write. You don't have to have any writing experience at all. Just join and we'll express and create together. And Abstract will close us out with her amazing feature. Yes, indeed. So where can folks let you know how much they appreciate you and connect with you?
Please let me know on Instagram at Abstract, like Abstract Art, and then C.I.M. Again, that stands for Complicated in Meaning. So my name is Abstract C.I.M. on Instagram, or Abstract C.I.M. at yahoo.com. on my website at abstractcim.com. So yeah.
Wonderful. And as always, show notes will be timerl.com/abstract. So if you're on the go and you want the links to Abstract social media or the information for this Sunday's expression session, all of that's timerl.com/abstract. 2 questions for you, and then we'll head out. First question.
All right.
First question is, what is grace?
Oh my goodness, grace. Grace is mercy. Grace is being given something that don't deserve, but being given it anyway. From love. Grace is love. Yeah. We're trying not to get too spiritual.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I ain't gonna tell you. I mean, God gives us grace. I'll just put that out there. That's what I'm trying to hold back. But yeah, that's the first thing I think of when I think of grace. Being able to wake up every single day isn't a privilege. It is not a right. It is a privilege. It's not a right. It's a privilege from him. So many people don't. Every time you get in a car every single day, you really gotta thank God because it is his grace. We all sin and do things that maybe we shouldn't be here for, but he allows us to be here anyway, and get up and try and do better and be better every day. I think that's great. So, yeah.
I appreciate that. Before I ask the last question, I know you already said that doing interviews is going out of your comfort zone, and you didn't know me either. So, so many leaps of faith. I want to thank you so much for saying yes. And
no problem. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. And, the vulnerability and the self-accountability and the creativity is just really appreciated. And I know the folks listening are really appreciating it as well. So thank you so much for that.
No problem, Tom. Thank you for having me. Thank you for choosing.
My pleasure. So here's the last question. It's our ritual. It's our closing ritual here at the celebration. And it's, what is your invitation to the folks listening? Your invitation for them to think about, to be, to do. What is your invitation?
Oh, what is my invitation? Figure out what it is that you stand for. Whatever that means to you. For me, I'm speaking of, why do I do my art? Who am I doing it for? Why am I doing it? And what keeps me going every day? Figure out what you stand for. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So.
I mean, well said. Thank you once again. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, y'all have a good one.
Yes, indeed. And to all those listening, we're wishing you peace and blessings. Thank you. One more thing. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to join me at timeearl.com/join. Subscribe below, or let's connect on social media. Tom Earl Artist. Thanks again for watching.